Sam and I are super excited to be on live today. I am just waiting for her to join me so we can talk a little bit about who we are. We realize that we probably haven't said a whole lot about what got us interested, why we became Enneagram experts, Sexperts, if you want to say, and just a little bit about us and who are the two faces behind us sexy First Fridays. As you notice, I'm in a different location today. You get a slight glimpse into my actual home. I am not at the physical office on Wednesdays. I am at home and I typically do therapy in the evening from home, but today is my son's birthday, so I am actually not working today, but we had a little time this morning to hop on and talk a little bit about what Sam and I do. And here she is. I'm accepting to accept. I'm accepting. Go live with Sam. There we go. Yay! I feel like half the time we get on here, we have some sort of technological issue. I was telling people, the one thing was on yet, but like this is actually you get to see my home today because my husband is working from home, and so I'm in my actual living room, and so you get a glimpse into where I live. Oh no, did I lose you? Sam, I think I lost you. So it looks like I lost you. You're gonna have to re-ask to join. Let me see here. Hopefully she's not having any technological. Okay, here she is again. Let's accept, go live. She was here, so hopefully. All right, there you are again. I'm not sure what happened.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Well, welcome. It looks like we have a few people on now. Sam and I just wanted to hop on quick because we realized that we maybe actually haven't talked about what got us into this work and a little bit more about who we are. We were actually joking so I'm an Enneagram type 9, a social 9, and Sam is a sexual 5. And it's this is kind of typical maybe of your 5s and 9s not to be self-promoting or telling each other, in my mind, I'm people already know, or it's not that big of a deal. And I'm sure for Sam, it's maybe I don't feel completely confident enough, or I know enough yet. But we haven't talked about who we are and what we do and sort of what got us into this work. And so so we thought we'd just hop on and talk a little bit about what got us into this work to begin with. So again, just kind of our types. Just who we are, credentials and things like that, and then we'll get into it. My name is Lyndsey. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, as well as a certified sex therapist. And I have a private practice out of South Minneapolis, where I specialize in relationships and sexuality, utilizing the Enneagram. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Sam, and then let's get started.
Cool. So if you see tiny hands and you hear baby noises, it's because my 9-month-old is with us today. So I'm Dr. Sam E. Greenberg. I'm a doctor of psychology, and my research is on human sexuality, focused on the Enneagram. I'm also a Enneagram coach specializing in sex and relationships. And yeah, we were talking and joking about how we're so bad at self-promotion, especially just talking only about ourselves. So we decided we can maybe hype up each other, because I love talking about Lyndsey, how amazing she is, but talking about myself is a little harder. So Lyndsey, why don't you tell us more about your therapy experience, your credentials, just more about you.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is I have been in human services for a really long time. So I have had my private practice, my therapy practice, where I've practiced for the last 12 years. And I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, as well as a certified sex therapist and an IE accredited professional. But even before I was a therapist, I was a social worker. So I had been doing social work in the community, where I would go in and make sure that clients had Basically, it was clients that had physical disabilities and needed services in their homes. So they didn't have to go to nursing facilities. So I was like the broker of services. And a lot of actually what I was doing even then was like therapy and coaching. And then I was also a mental health case manager. So I have basically been in the human service profession, oh my gosh, the last 20 years. And what was interesting, that kind of brought me into therapy and why I became a therapist is that when I was a social worker, what I would find is that social worker is essential work. I loved doing that type of work. But what you found is people didn't oftentimes get better. It was actually people either maintained or they got worse. And I really had a desire and want to help people actually shift and have more change. And so that's what's actually led me into becoming a therapist. And then when I became a sex therapist, it was because, so many people don't know this, but most therapists get no education on sexuality or maybe a course. And so because I was doing mostly couples at my practicum site, I was like, I really want to understand sexuality in more depth so I could actually talk about and help people sort of in this area. And so to become a certified sex therapist, which I don't think a lot of people know, is like you actually have to get 30 credits of education as well as do like a supervision process where you are like underneath somebody for about 2 years before you can actually become certified. And then I've been using the Enneagram for 8 years, and I'm also credited in that. I've got all of my education pieces through Enneagram Egypt. And it's funny because I just assume like people know these things about me, or like that they wouldn't be that interested in it. And I'm just like, but then when I actually tell people, they're like, wow, like you actually have a lot of experience in knowledge in what you do.
Lyndsey, I didn't even know half of that. I didn't know you did the social work stuff before or how that motivated you to go into therapy. So I just learned this new information to me.
Tell me a little bit about what got you into research and then just also the sexuality components and pieces for you, because I'd love to know about that as well.
Sure. Also, I just noticed we're wearing the same color today.
Oh, we are, aren't we? It's a beautiful color, isn't it?
It is. So I started out my career in research. I did research design for sexuality and sexual reproductive health programs. So the kind of programs that people would go to reduce their risk of teen pregnancy, or I worked with one that was for teens with HIV positive, and I would design the research for assessing like the effectiveness of those things. I also always like worked with the programs too, as like in my free time or whatever. So I've been working with sexuality and with research all along, for over a decade. Um, you're the cute squeaking in the background. And I have been studying the Enneagram itself for 16 years. And I did my full training with the narrative Enneagram. And then my doctoral research in psychology is specifically on human sexuality as intersex with the Enneagram. So you might know that the Enneagram hasn't been studied by that many people because it is a little bit of a tricky psychometric system. Like it's a little bit tricky to study it. But I love the Enneagram so much. I was using it so much in my personal life and just to help people that I kind of persisted and insisted to all my professors and stuff that I would study it. And because of that, I have some of limited research on it. There's some you can find that is pretty good and some that's not so good. So I hope anyone who's watching who wants to do science on the Enneagram does it. And I guess that's a little bit about me.
How do you use it in your work today? All these things that you have learned, Sam.
Well, I especially use it for coaching. So I don't want to be one of those social scientists that just learns things and then no one does anything with it. I think what I've learned and then what, our combined knowledge is really impactful for people in their relationships. So I use everything I learned in my research in my coaching to help people with their dynamics. Please excuse the speaking. with their dynamics to, improve communication, to understand each other's sexuality patterns, stop judging them, stop judging themselves, be more open, more compassionate, and to learn to work on compatibility between people. So yeah, I use it in a lot of practical ways for coaching. Um, what about you, Lyndsey? What have you learned, about sexuality and the Enneagram that you use in sex therapy?
I mean, I think one of the huge pieces, so I came from the lens where, I was a social worker and a therapist and a certified sex therapist before I was even using the Enneagram. And one of the things that I noticed in the work that happened for me with having this tool is that the Enneagram itself has been such a significant tool in my couples, especially in the sexuality piece and a lot of those things that we have learned more recently, and actually making that movement more quickly. So like what I found is that once I sort of understood a little bit more about the instinctual stacking and the instincts around the Enneagram. So as we've talked before, the Enneagram instincts sort of set that framework and the type comes in and sets nuance. Is having that information for couples in my office has actually been really huge, that they actually make much more progress more quickly in the therapy than they did before I had that tool. And so having that in conjunction with the tools that I was already using in sex therapy, I was seeing outcomes much more quickly for what couples needed and wanted. And I think a big reason for that is that this tool helps us understand how we all approach sexuality different, the meaning that we make out of sex, and it creates this generosity. And I use Brene Brown's term generosity, which means that like at any given point in time, we are all doing the best that we can. And in that process, we still hurt each other. And so having this information was a lot of aha moments for clients, like, oh, like you don't think about sex in the same way that I do. So these behaviors and these stories that I have created around this aren't actually reality. Like they are things that I have believed because I assume you approach sex the same way I do. And so if you're not interested in sex and I'm a sexual dominant, it means you don't desire me or you don't love me or you don't want to be connected to me. And it could be that your partner was just a self-preserver who has a lot more context, or sex needs to be just right, or it's about efficiency. And so it's just been such an impactful tool in the work that I've done. And I've really enjoyed like having this specialty and this lens to kind of bring in for clients as well.
Amazing. So we thought something fun to do would be to kind of tell the people what we're so impressed by in each other, since we're bad at doing it in ourselves. So Lyndsey, what drew me to you is a few things. One is your therapeutic approach. I feel like it is so grounded. It is so calm, and like you're happy to go really slow if that's what people need, or faster if that's what people need. Basically, you're my therapy guru. Like I come to you with coaching questions all the time on how to approach like a therapeutic model with different types, and you're just so brilliant at it. And then I'm also very impressed that you've done not just like workshops, which I'm already impressed, 1 and 2 day workshops, but you've also done courses, 8 to 10 week courses on various aspects of sexuality. I think that is so impressive. And you're just so fond of knowledge about every sex therapy topic. I feel like because you're a very humble person, people don't realize like how much you know, and it's really amazing. Every single question I ever have about sex therapy or therapy in general, like you really know what you're doing, and I think you're amazing.
Thank you, Sam. I really appreciate hearing all of that too. And it is interesting, like when we don't like recognize or realize the things that we do ourselves. I think one of the things that really drew me to you initially, just on that same note, is that your research and all the work that you had been doing was like backing up like all the things that I was seeing in the office. And when there wasn't this research out there to even let me know whether like the patterns or the systems or the things that I were seeing were like congruent, or if there were tendencies, and like your research like really backed that up. And I loved just that ability also for you to be like one of those few people that have actually done research on sexuality in the Enneagram and published papers on it. And as well, I think you were the only person that's done anything on this sexual instincts. And I just, that knowing of like, I just love how like you're kind of like at the forefront of something that really nobody else has done. And I can't imagine how it is to like venture into like a research area or topic that like nobody else has ever done before. And also like being able to get us that information and back up the things that we're seeing in the therapy office. And like, I just think that's so impressive. And I just love like, just like even outside of that, like our teaming up and like how we so nicely complement each other. It's sort of like that back and forth. Like you and I were joking. It's like the work that we do together, like it flows so easily. And I've never, ever actually ever had this with anybody else that I've teamed up with on things that I do. And like that means so much to me too, because there's ease, there's comfort. It's all the things this 9 wants. Not too much pressure, not too much overwhelm. And so like that has been also the thing that I have really has been beautiful and really enjoyable about working together with you. Like everything we've done has been fun. And I look forward to like lots more of this like fun stuff that we can do.
I feel the same way.
And I see that Real Regal Beagle commented that our work has been really helpful for him and his husband. And that is just so wonderful to see. And thank you so much for like leaving that comment as well. Sometimes we don't also know like the impact that our work has had on other people. And so I love it when people like share that their experiences and things that we've done have been helpful. I know sometimes people will DM us and it's like always like such a like, I just love it when people do. And they're like, your work has been impactful and here's how it's helped me. So also like we welcome that when people want to like, you know, direct message us and ask us questions or share their experience with the work that we do. That does mean a lot to me. And I know that it does to you, Sam, because it's like that affirmation of like, this thing that we've really wanted to bring to people is actually really having impact in individuals' lives and couples' lives.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. That's all we had. I mean, we just thought we would hop on and like share a little bit of, like, I'm actually surprised. Like there are actually 8 people on here today. So thank you for joining. We changed the time because this is what worked better for us, even though we had said noon. So we didn't know whether we would actually like see people on here with us or not. So it's great to see people on here as well. And, you know, as you've noticed, you know, Sam and I are doing that workshop on 10/3 on the Instincts and Sex. That $67 price is through 9/14. So you might want to hop in on that. If you have questions about that, don't hesitate to message either one of us. It will be a recorded workshop so that if you cannot join live, you will have access to the video later on, and that you will have access to that for the foreseeable future unless YouTube does something and the videos get taken down. So that's also a great thing to know, because I know not everybody can attend live, or even if you can, you want to watch it later again. This is something we just started doing with workshops because people have really liked that idea of like, if I can't attend, I can watch it later, or I want to attend, but I want to rewatch it. So just having that access to that. So don't hesitate to reach out, and we look forward to seeing a few of you in Instincts and Sex in October. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Lyndsey.
Bye.